what's up, y'all? I hope you're doing well. In this lesson, I want to explore the differences between the new Beyonce version of Jolene and the original version from Dolly Parton. They're both really, really cool songs, and there's a lot of similarities between the two, but there's some interesting technique differences. Let's start with the new Beyonce version first, and then we'll come back to this one. I think the trick about the riff is doing the dynamics correctly, meaning where you do the palm mutes and where you do the hammer-on pull-off stuff. That's the riff really slow. The things that you should pay attention to is the palm mute at the beginning, the first three notes. That part is really hard. We're just holding one finger on the left hand down, but the right hand has to go. So 3 palm mutes, and then this note is gonna be full. Since I gotta get this mute farther down, my arm is kind of coming more around the guitar like this, if you've noticed. So my normal playing kind of be like right here. But for this type of thing, if I want to get, mutes on these higher strings, I'm going to have to get my hand at the right angle. And for me, the best way to do that is to bring my hand actually kind of from a different angle from the guitar. I think it's best to think of it as 4 different riffs. We have the first one, 1. And then the second riff. Now notice from the first one to the second one, the right hand thumb moves from the A string over to the D string. I think that's the best way to approach it. Even if you're doing it that way, where you're kind of doing the sweep pick with the thumb, still you want to set the thumb up for that next part. Okay, so that's the first 2 riffs. 1, second riff. This is the third riff. Now that slap is kind of from the end of riff 2. But that's worth practicing on its own. So now we have 1. Then there's a rest there. So make sure you're actively rest. Then riff 4 is, so I'm plucking both fingers, pull off, then with one finger, getting back into regular playing position with the palm mute. So you have to practice the riff 4 to get back to riff 1 too. So practice, riff 1 to riff 2, and then riff 2 to riff 3 to riff 4, and then again, riff 4 back to riff 1. I think that's the best way to approach it. The old version is actually faster, about 5 BPM faster. I'm using the thumb pick for this version because that's the way that Chip Young played it originally. And of course, he also played it on a nylon string guitar instead of a steel string, so it has a little bit of a different tone as well. The other difference is that we have the capo, instead of on the 2nd fret for the Beyonce version, it's in a higher pitch, so we have it on the 4th fret here. It's more of a boom chuck type thing. It's not necessarily boom chuck, it's a pattern picking, what a lot of people mistakenly call Travis picking. So the main riff, like I said, is at 222. That's really fast. 2, 3, 4. Let me slow it way down and show you actually how to do it. So one thing you gotta know is the thumb is going back and forth. Essentially, this is the pattern. Thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle. All while holding an A minor chord. Now the actual phrase, what we do is we start off like that, but we hold a A minor sus2, meaning taking our first finger off, and we go like this. 1 and 2 and 3, hammer. 1 and 2 and 3, hammer. 1 and 2, pull off, thumb, index. So look at the right hand. 1 and 2, pull off, thumb, index. Again. Okay, let's put them both together at a slow speed. On the beat 3 in the original version, you can definitely hear that there's a rest being played there. Rest. Rest. Now, it's hard to kind of get the groove and play that rest. So a thing that kind of helps is to almost play like a active mute. And try not to get too much of a slap there, but because it's hard to keep the groove going when you just have a blank space. For the chord part, the main part of the verse, chorus, in between the main riff, the best advice I could give you is just to look at a chord chart with the lyrics on the screen. Let me show you what you play over each chord. So always, over every single chord, you're gonna play bass note and then the chord. So it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the most basic way to do it. So if you have like A minor to C to G, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, riff. And every time it's the A minor, it just does the riff instead of that. There's one other detail you should know is walk up and walk downs. So often from the A minor, it does that. So instead of just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the fourth beat, 1, 2, 3, walk up to C. So the note right before C, okay? And then going to G, sometimes they'll play G over B instead, which if you don't know what that is, that's just a G chord with the B note in the bass. On the original chord part, instead of the walk up and walk downs how we had from the Beyonce version, this one is more kind of just basically just boom, chuck, pattern, pick, boom, chuck, pattern, pick. Boom, chuck, pattern, pick, riff. And the Beyonce version, the chord strumming part, you could totally just interchange them, except for one thing, there's more chords in the Beyonce version. So where you have after G, anytime that there's G being repeated twice, in the Beyonce version, she's gonna include an E minor in there. There's an interesting bridge part that you should check out. Again, you gotta listen to the real song. I can't play it on this because of copyright stuff. I'll throw a chart up on the screen. It's F, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, G sharp diminished, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4 twice. Then it goes G, E minor, D minor 3 times, and then E minor, F, G, G sharp diminished to A minor, back to down to G, back to E minor, then riff twice in a row. That's the only weird part, and then they repeat that twice in a row. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all on the next one.